Man, I got to wait till Tuesday. Okay. Oh my God. I just need to keep hearing that right there. Hey, you are awesomely awesome, and you're the best. You're the best. Blessed. Just hell. I can't even. I don't even know what to say.
Had a vision from 20 in the morning, thinking of my little sisters in mourning, struggling with realities, no maladies, holidays ain't the same, everything's changed. No Bowie, no Prince, and no Michael, no Andre Crouch and the Disciples, no Walter, Edwin, or Derek Coley, no Whitney, no George Michael. Toys R Us gone bankrupt, damn they guitar city went bankrupt. Everything from my childhood's missing, man. Man, I swear it's such a fooled up feeling, man. I'm not mad, it's a simple observation, and I'm not sad, but it's not a celebration. I'm just trying to put the pieces back together, man. Everything's falling through my fingers like sand. It seems a tighter that I'm gripping. It seems the more that I am slipping. I feel like I lost everything I love. And where's this alleged agape love? And churches ain't the same. Gospel music just ain't the same. R&B it just ain't the same. But y'all keep telling me it's the same. But I ain't feeling nothing, damn it. And I don't wanna reach up and grab it. Shots fired, get to ducking. Always knew they were up to something. This ain't no future in your frontin'. And y'all know you still out here fool. I'm not a baby, bro, I'm grown. Don't leave me standing out here alone. That's why I wrote this song. Because I know I'm not alone. What are we out here doing? What are we out here saying? People don't care no more. So
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I'm gonna let y'all know right now, it's definitely gonna be one of those lives. It's gonna be a very colorful live. It's going to be a very not safe for work live. It's gonna be a real, raw, uncensored, abrasive, and low-key offensive commentary. We've been talking about Project 2025 for a while now, but I saw a video on Instagram that I'm going to share with you that was like, I knew eventually one of these days I was going to sit down and read and begin to read Project 2025, because again, it's available for you to read at your own discretion, at your own leisure. It's a 900 and something page document, which I do intend to read through thoroughly on my own time, because I'm not finna do the homework for everybody else. I will open the door for you, because as it says on the screen and in the preface or preface, if you will, however you want to say it, you know, it's BubzDaGawd, whatever, is going to speak or give their own, I guess, treatment, if you will, of what they plan to do if a Republican president is to be sworn in. When I sat there and read the preface of that, it literally validated what I've been saying on this channel for a minute, which is why I continue to implore to oppressed groups of people, or what society deems as oppressed groups of people, that y'all better get motherfucking ready. This is not a goddamn test. This is a repeat of what has happened historically over time. They just found a way to make it adaptable to today's time. The same fear-based ideology continuing to be the real cancer against human progression and evolution. And what I'm going to say is, a bunch of scared motherfuckers who are afraid of accountability, because we throw this word accountability out everywhere. You hear it, accountability. Everyone has to be accountable, 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 accountable. Well, the process of being accountable objectively is to start with your motherfucking self. Before you can talk about anybody doing anything the fuck else, you gotta make sure your motherfucking ass is straight. No pun intended, bitch. These are the same people who claim Christianity, that they continue to verify to me that there is nothing Christian about them. If anything, they're cosplaying as Christians because they use the word God and walk out God, or shall I say they use the words, the verbiage of Christ, but the action of God, and not a loving, unconditional, agape love type of God, but a vengeful, wrathful, destructive, non-empathetic, apathetic God. Project 2025 is about Christian nationalism. And they're going to enforce Christian nationalism on individuals who have the freedom of religion. And on top of that, if you're going to claim a God and a following that talks about truth and justice and liberty and inclusion and all these things that you say God is, why are y'all struggling to walk that out? Y'all smell that? There's a fucking wolf in the building, people. What's going on, Queen Stevie? What's going on, Queen Spicy? And this is why I give the smoke that I give, especially to black people and in particular black men. Because we're too busy out here talking bullshit, not backing our shit up. And I don't know how I said we. I'm trying to be empathetic, I guess, girl. I'm in y'all shoes. When real deal shit is happening. You got black motherfuckers out here trying to silence queer voices, not realizing that their voices are going to be silent as well. And I'm gonna have to, at the end of this, I'm gonna have to cuss us out because we made it possible. We are literally allowing this shit to happen every single day. We allow it to happen. We sit here and complain and complain and complain and complain, and then nobody tries to have conversations about solving the fucking problem. Or shall I say, it's the wrong motherfuckers up there pretending that they're problem solvers when all they are true, genuine agents of chaos. Because agents of chaos are going to continue to make things confusing for everybody, as opposed to finding the gray area that I've been talking about. But we're going to have to learn how to tap into the gray area in the realm of stepping outside of our comfort zone. You wonder why so many queer people are doing so well in life despite the adversities against them? It's because they still choose themselves. In the midst of the bullshit that they're dealing with, they still choose their fucking selves. You wonder why black people have still survived and was able to fucking make it through all the atrocious shit that has happened and that is still happening covertly, that it just can't wait to become overt again. Wait for it to be okay. Wait for it, because let's not act like that hasn't happened in recent history. It's been less than a fucking century, and we've seen historically what has happened in the realm of racism. Didn't it say in y'all book that y'all interpret the wrongest ways of all wrong, girl? That the last shall be first and the first shall be last? Y'all are about to... Okay. Make sure y'all hit the like button. And I'm gonna talk all my shit. And it's Pride Month. Hell yes. Hell yes. Y'all want hell, so here it is. And the fucking sad part is that the next generation, your children's children, is gonna go through the same shit, which is why those before us have to keep having the same fucking talk all the time, girl. Life about to get very interesting for every motherfucking body. And this is not gonna be for the faint of heart. If you can't take what I'm saying, if what I'm saying is jarring you, oh my God, get the fuck out of here. This is for people who actually want to make a change, that want to be educated, that want to tap into humanity. Because the funny part is that when it's time for your humanity to be in focus, and when the mirror's on your ass, you're gonna want people besides you as well. You're gonna want people to hold you down as well. When it's your turn to be human, and what y'all don't understand is that when y'all act negative towards people and deny other people's existence and experiences and this objective thing we call life, you are, in a spiritual way, inadvertently doing the same thing to yourself. But before we get into the video, what's up, Chief Soul Survivor? The name of that song was entitled Change by B.Slade. I love B.Slade. He's amazing. He's the vocal GOAT. Y'all need to do y'all research on B.Slade, and one day I'm gonna work with that nigga. I'm working on my singing voice now. It's manifesting. Once I get my piano, girl, and once I get to where I want to be, don't ask me to sing happy birthday, because it'll be my birthday for this moment that I'm singing, girl. Okay? But he's just amazing. But again, the song is entitled Change by B.Slade, and the link is in the description box below for you. So before we get into it, Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All the videos, songs, images, and graphics used in this live belong to their respective owners, and BubzDaGawd does not claim any right over them, okay? What's going on, Coco with the TV? What's going on? I want y'all to stay, if y'all can, please make sure y'all share the live. I really don't ask y'all that, but I'm gonna have to start asking y'all that. Can y'all please make sure to share the live, especially in spaces where it's queerphobic as fuck and racist as fuck? Because people are literally playing in our face, and because we scared, we allow it to happen. That's why I be telling people, y'all better start dealing with the concept of death now, because first of all, it's gonna happen regardless, whether you want to or not, baby. So go ahead, have your panic attack. Oh my God, you will live. Trust me, and I mean that figuratively and literally. When you start dealing with the concept of death, you start living, bitch, because you understand what's going on. And a lot of these hoes are afraid to die, girl, so they get into positions of power, or they scrounge to get into positions of power so that they can have all the distractions to keep them away from this one simple universal fact, bitch, that will humble any motherfucking body. And you would think, especially from a Christian narrative, if I'm doing horrible shit to people and I'm afraid of death, girl, would you make a change in your life now while you can to do the right thing so that when you die, you don't end up going to the place where the fire is, bitch? And I want y'all in the comment section to go ahead and let the fuck off. What's going on, Snatched by Diego? What's up? Queer people gotta deal with motherfuckers talking shit about them all fucking year long, bitch. Y'all hoes ain't gonna do it during Pride Month. That's one fucking month, bitch. So for the queer people in the comments, bitch, go in and let the fuck have on this live. Cause these niggas really playing in our face, girl. And you know what the crazy part about it is? Looking at how this situation is, girl. The fact that Joe Biden's health is declining, girl. The fact that Trump ass has now become a martyr. And here comes this plan to give to this president, because a part of me feels like Trump is going to be president. I've already accepted that in my mind, just in case. Okay, anyway, here is the video that we're going to look at first, and then what we're going to do is we're going to read, okay, the preface of where they explain what their objective is, and then I'm going to give y'all the homework of reading for yourself and seeing it for yourself. It's a 900-page something documentary, bitch. Break it up day by day, girl. I'm gonna read 10 pages a day. That's fine. Break it the fuck up. Break it the fuck up. Do what you gotta do. If you gotta hook on phonics to shit, if you gotta put that shit in chat, GI, AI, whatever, have that bitch read it to you, do what you need to do. But make sure you do your due deals. It says my people perish by the lack of knowledge. Motherfuckers gotta want to learn, girl. And I know it's scary with this shit, but I'd rather learn and face the fear and be able to stand 10 toes the fuck down on what I believe, even in the face of death, than to sit up there, oh my God, stop. I have even accepted in my own life, because what they say in this is that individuals like me that they consider woke agents, individuals who are sowers of discord, the language is very, very graphic, and the language is very, very aggressive about what they want to do to people like us, which means doing the same thing they did to Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Huey Newton. I'm gonna let y'all listen to the video, okay? Here's the video, girl. We gonna get into the clip, and I'm gonna shut the hell up, and then we gonna get into it.
What's Project 2025? It's a nightmare. That's all I can say. It is an absolute nightmare. It is a 920-page book called Mandate for Leadership, The Conservative Promise. It details Project 2025, which is a plan to completely change the way our government works if a conservative candidate is elected president in 2024. I need y'all to understand that voting is no longer an option. We must do it. If a Republican wins this election in 2024, everything that I'm about to say will be set into motion. You think I'm kidding? This is the first page, and they are planning to implement this at 12 o'clock noon on January 20th, 2025, the day that the president is inaugurated. And this plan is not new. It dates all the way back to 1980 when Reagan was president. They actually mention him as the inspiration for a lot of these things that they're trying to implement, which tells you just how bad this actually is, if they're using Reagan as a reference. But they officially launched this in April of 2022, over a year ago. So the project is broken up into 4 pillars. You can pause to read those 4 pillars. Words such as critical race theory and gender ideology are to be struck from curriculum in every public school in every country. They refer to social media apps such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and yes, TikTok as industrial-scale child abuse. They claim that it fuels mental illness and anxiety, as well as frays children's bonds with their parents. This highlighted paragraph was just lovely to read. You can pause to read it yourself. It's basically calling for the discrimination of people with addictions, people with mental issues, and people with health issues. As someone with irritable bowel syndrome, I'm a little hurt. I implore every single one of y'all to go on Google, look up Project 2025, find the PDF, and read this for yourself. But I'm gonna go over some basic policies that they're trying to implement. I have them on my notes here, because 900 pages is a lot to show y'all. Starting with the LGBTQ+ community, specifically transgender individuals. They are attempting to reverse policies that allow transgender people to serve in the military, eliminating transgender coverage under Medicaid and Medicare, and restricting the protection of sex discrimination, specifically in the context of hiring and firing in places of employment. In other words, this would make it completely legal to fire someone from their job because they are a part of the LGBTQ+ community. This would also rescind all regulations that prohibit discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender, identity, etc. Plus, they want to make it legal to discriminate against the LGBTQ+ community in regards to foster care and adoption. Let's talk about abortions and reproductive health, because you know they didn't leave that alone. They are talking about completely dismantling the HHS, which is the Health and Human Services, because they promote abortions as a form of healthcare. They're trying to take complete control of the FDA and reverse the approval of chemical abortion drugs, trying to end all state funding for abortions, as well as withdrawing Medicaid from states who violate this. They want to completely end sexual education in schools and promote abstinence only. They also want to end abortion training for all medical professionals, as well as investigate and prosecute any state medical schools that violate this. Basically outlawing abortion in any way, for any situation, in every single state in the United States. This includes ectopic pregnancies and partial miscarriages. Oh yeah, they also want to completely eliminate the Department of Education altogether and end federal Pell Grants for colleges and universities. I literally would not have been able to afford to go to college if it wasn't for federal Pell Grants, and now students that are exactly like me are not going to be able to go to college at all. They're also targeting low-income families in regards to school lunches. There's going to be a lot more news stories of lunch ladies telling kids that they can't eat because their parents haven't paid for their school lunch yet. They also want to request work requirements for SNAP. Individuals receiving SNAP will now be required to work a minimum of 20 hours per week, and SNAP benefits will only be available for adult beneficiaries between the ages of 18 and 50 who are not disabled and do not have children or dependents. There's going to be a lot of single mothers with starving children. And, you know, they had to throw in Christianity in there because that's what they love to do. They wish to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and issue an executive order to protect religious employers and employees' right to discriminate for religious reasons. If this comes to pass, your employer can literally fire you for not being a Christian. If you don't believe me, like I said, go read it for yourself. It is 920 pages of nothing but this. Basically, life as we know it will change forever.
What's up, Harold? I'm gonna let y'all know the rest of this commentary, if you ain't already triggered, I'm going to trigger you some more. And I'm not just going to I'm going to trigger everybody. I'm going to trigger everybody. To the point to where, again, I've already had conversations about something possibly happening to me because of the way I'm about to trigger everybody. Project 2024 is one of the most hypocritical proposals I have ever motherfucking read. There's 4 pillars of promises that they're hoping, wishing, and going to give to the President of the United States. They tell you exactly how they're gonna do it. They like a motherfucking evil ass nigga, girl, who done caught Scooby-Doo and them, girl, and y'all finna die, finna tell you my plan. We're going to now do all this, girl. If it wasn't for the meddling bitch, how the first 3 pillars are hypocritical as fuck, girl. I read that shit. I said, girl, I know it's been a minute that I haven't read the Bible, girl, but damn, this is very antichrist in what y'all talking about, girl. Y'all want to deny everybody else, but then put Christianity up as number 1, even though Christ was for all people. He was for the people that y'all are against. That no wonder he ain't come back, girl. Y'all don't want him to come back because y'all don't even know him, bitch. We're going to really get into it, girl. We're going to get into it, girl. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Because at this point, girl, I'm about to activate a little bit of my goddamn, what's it called, girl? I can't even think of it. The word's escaping me right now. Trolling energy, girl. Because y'all literally trolling in our face. So let's do this. Let's do this. So if you can, please, if you want to read along with me, 1 second. You can definitely click the link down below. Okay. I'm going to start at page 13. Okay. Put my phone here because I'm not going to be able to look at the actual OBS screen. I have to look at my phone screen. So I might be a little delayed a little bit. I'll be able to read y'all comments, but I'll be a little bit ahead of y'all because this live is kind of delayed a bit, okay? But anyway, it reads, and this is again it's the note, girls, the note on Project 2025, girl. And it reads, we want you. The 2025 Presidential Transition Project is the conservative movement's unified effort to be ready for the next conservative administration to govern at 12 noon on January 20th of 2025. Welcome to the mission. By opening this book, you are now a part of it. They didn't lie about that, girl. Because everybody's included in this bitch, girl. Indeed, one set of eyes reading these passages will be those of the 47th President of the United States, and we hope every other reader will join in making the incoming administration a success. And by the way, this ain't gonna be no perfect ass read through, girl. Andrew Caldwell's spirit gonna try to jump in here somewhere, girl. I'm just letting y'all know. Welcome to BubzDaGawd. History teaches that a president's power to implement an agenda is at its apex during the administration's opening days. To execute requires a well-conceived, coordinated, unified plan and a trained and committed cadre of personnel to implement it. Again, if I fuck the words up, girl, charge it to my head, not my heart. In recent election cycles, Presidential candidates normally began transition planning in the late spring of election year or even after the party's nomination was secured. That is too late. The federal government's complexity and growth advance at a seemingly logarithmic rate every 4 years. For conservatives to have a fighting chance to take on the administrative state and reform our federal government, the work must start now. The entirety of this effort is to support the next conservative president, whomever he or she may be. Now, no shade. When they said she, I said, hold on. Y'all must be really desperate, girl, if y'all wouldn't have put a female as a president, girl. Because what, did Kamala make y'all feel threatened, girl, even though it's two wings on the same bird, girl? Not a she as from the Republicans? Oh, my God. Come on now. See, the truth be slipping in there, girl. You see how sometimes the truth be there? It's like glitching out, girl. Like, you be trying to be progressive, girl, but you don't try to be progressive. Like, you be at the line and be double dutching and shit, but you don't really commit. Damn shame. In the winter, of 1980, the fledgling Heritage Foundation handed, I told you Andrew was gonna come through, bitch. The fledgling Heritage Foundation handed to President-elect Ronald Reagan the inaugural Mandate for Leadership. This collective work by conservative thought leaders and former government hands, most of whom were not part of Heritage, set out policy prescriptions, agency by agency, for the incoming president. The book literally put the conservative movement and Reagan on the same page, and the revolution that followed might never have been save for this band of committed and volunteer activists. With this volume, we have gone back to the future and then some. I told y'all in my commentary, for those of you who've been rocking with me for a while, and again, if you haven't, it's your first time, hit that subscribe button. I'm a different type of nigga, girl. You might want to hear what I have to say, bitch. No shade. I told you the 60s and then 70s was about what? Black liberation, queer liberation, women's liberation, anti-war, more of the Christ-centered things that these people claim that Christ do and what love is for real, girl. Not just the selling point, bitch, but it actually being the motherfucking product, bitch, for real. I told y'all in the 80s, girl, when you go against the system, bitch, and think you gonna try to outsmart the system, there will be retribution. There will be a penance, bitch. There will be punishment, girl. And what happened in the 80s, girl? The crack epidemic happened, girl. And then came the war on drugs. They're gonna sit up here and talk about single mothers and the father not being in the house and how black children are at a higher rate. But meanwhile, want to emulate Reagan, who created the war on drugs that put black men in prison for longer sentences than their white peers, girl. And the only difference, bitch, to put your ass in jail for a long time and not just for a little time, girl, was baking soda in this bitch. Baking soda. I got baking soda. I told you. It's not 1980. It's 2023. The game has changed. The long march of cultural Marxism through our institutions has come to pass. The federal government is a behemoth, weaponized against American citizens and conservative values, with freedom and liberty under siege as never before. Girl, how dare y'all say that? The task at hand to reverse this tide and restore our republic to its original moorings is too great for any one conservative policy shop to spearhead. It requires the collective action of our movement. Keyword collective. With the quickening approach of January 2025, we have 2 years and 1 chance to get it right. Again, this was written in 2023. Okay. Project 2025 is more than 50 and growing of the nation's leading conservative organizations joining forces to prepare and seize the day. The axiom goes, personnel is policy. And we need a new generations of Americans to answer the call and come to serve. This book is functionally an invitation for you, the reader, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, and Miss Smith, to come to Washington or support those who can. Our goal is to assemble an army of aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative state. The project is built on 4 pillars. Pillar 1, this volume puts in one place a consensus view of how major federal agencies must be governed, and where disagreement exists, brackets out those differences for the next president to choose a path. Pillar 2 is a personnel database that allows candidates to build their own professional profiles and our coalition members to review and voice their recommendations. These recommendations will then be collided and shared with the president-elect's team, greatly streamlining the appointment process. Pillar 3 is the Presidential Administration Academy, an online educational system taught by experts from our coalition. For the newcomer, this will explain how the government functions and how to function in government. For the experienced, we will host in-person seminars with advanced training and set the bar for what is expected of senior leadership. And Pillar 4, the playbook. We are forming agency teams and drafting transition plans to move out upon the president's utterance of, "So help me God." As Americans living at the approach of our nation's 250th birthday, we have been given much. As conservatives, we are as much required to steward this precious heritage for the next generation. On behalf of our coalition partners, we thank you and invite you to come join with us at Project 2025, girl. And this is from Paul Dans, the director of Project 2025. So now we're going to go to page, hold on y'all, I think it's, oh, these are, okay, I have to scroll down some, y'all give me a minute. And the website be loading so low, girl. I thought it was my damn internet. No, bitch, it's this damn thing. You got 900 something pages, girl. Now try to do the conservative promise, girl, and the Wi-Fi ain't even kicking in, girl. The pages ain't even showing up right, girl. The fuck? I turned my Wi-Fi off just to see. Come to find out it was the same thing, girl. Not your website lagging, bitch. And y'all, okay. Make sure y'all hit that like button, please. Make sure y'all please share the live. I'm scrolling through these pages to get to what I really want to talk to y'all about, girl, because the video we saw, she did the work and gave us notes. I kind of want to read with y'all the preface part, or the main thing that kind of was like, wow. And again, I want y'all to go forth and read for yourselves to get even more detail in what they're talking about, because I'm going to do that. And like I said, if you got to break this shit up into 10 chapters a day or whatever, 10 pages a day, do what you got to do. do what you have to do. And I like reading anyway, and I like narrating and stuff like that. So this is just practice for me. Okay, here we go. Take a sip of water real quick, girl. Cotton mouth coming in. Hold on. All right, y'all. And this is the foreword, girl. A Promise to America by Kevin D. Roberts, PhD. Okay, and again, make sure y'all got something to smoke on, something to sip on. Listen to this in the background. This is an auditory experience, okay? I want y'all to listen to what I'm saying. And I know it's so much interesting shit out there that you could be listening to, or what I would consider distractive shit going on right now. Yes, it would be easy to just run away and act like la 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 la, I don't hear this, girl. But usually a lot of people, no shade, who do the la 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 la, I don't hear this, girl, they be the first ones to go because they don't know how to handle chaos. Because chaos is coming. And this is not to be fear-mongering. If anything, this is to embrace the fear. Because we don't have to be victims either. You are an individual that has the freedom to be who the fuck you want to be. The unlimited expressions of God. Don't let people who only know God in a box tell you about your life when you're connected to the God outside the fucking box. These are scared people, girl, who are used to being in power, used to having privilege, and now their privilege is being challenged, girl. "44 years ago, the United States and the conservative movement were in dire straits. Both had been betrayed by the Washington establishment and were uncertain whom to trust. Both were internally splintered and strategically adrift. Worse still, at that moment of acute vulnerability and division, we found ourselves besieged by existential adversaries, foreign and domestic. The late 1970s were, by any measure, a historic low point for America, and the political coalition dedicated to preserving its unique legacy of human flourishing and freedom. Today, okay, bitch, come on, computer. Today, America and the conservative movement are enduring an era of division and danger akin to the late 1970s. Now, as then, our political class has been discredited by wholesale dishonesty and corruption. Look at America under the ruling and cultural elite today. Inflation is ravaging family budgets. Drug overdose deaths continue to escalate, and children suffer the toxic normalization of transgenderism, with drag queens and pornography invading their school libraries. Overseas, a totalitarian communist dictatorship in Beijing is engaged in a strategic, cultural, and economic Cold War against America's interests, values, and people, all while globalist elites in Washington awaken only slowly to that growing threat. Moreover, low-income communities are drowning in addiction and government dependence. Contemporary elites have even repurposed the worst ingredients of 1970s radical chic to build the totalitarian cult today known as the Great Awakening. And now, as then, the Republican Party seems to have little understanding about what to do. Most alarming of all, the very moral foundations of our society are in peril. Yet, students of history will note that, notwithstanding all those challenges, The late 1970s proved to be the moment when the political right unified itself. Come on. And the country, and led the United States to historical, political, economic, and global victories. The Heritage Foundation is proud to have played a small but pivotal role in that story. It was in the early 1979, amid stagflation, gas lines, and the Red Army's invasion of Afghanistan, the nadir of Jimmy Carter's days of malice, that Heritage launched the Mandate for Leadership project. We brought together hundreds of conservative scholars and academics across the conservative movement, and together, this team created a 20-volume, 3,000-page governing handbook containing more than 2,000 conservative policies to reform the federal government and rescue the American people from Washington dysfunction. It was a promise from the conservative movement to the country, confident, specific, and clear. Mandate for Leadership, which is the same name for this Project 2025 bill, was published in January 1981. The same month, Ronald Reagan was sworn into his presidency. By the end of that year, more than 60% of its recommendations had become policy, and Reagan was on his way to ending stagflation, reviving American confidence and prosperity, and winning the Cold War. The bad news today is that our political establishment and cultural elite have once again driven America toward decline. The good news is that we know the way out, even though the challenges today are not what they were in the 1970s. Conservatives should be confident that we can rescue our kids, reclaim our culture, revive our economy, and defeat the anti-American left, at home and abroad. We did it before and we'll do it again, as Ronald Reagan put it. Freedom is a fragile thing, and never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation. This is the duty history has put before us and the standard by which our generation of conservatives will be judged. And we should not want it any other way. The legacy of Mandate for Leadership, and indeed of the entire Reagan revolution, is that if conservatives want to save the country, we need a bold and courageous plan. This book is the first step in that plan. The Conservative Promise. This volume, The Conservative Promise, is the opening salvo of the 2025 Presidential Transition Project, launched by the Heritage Foundation and our many partners in April 2022. Its 30 chapters lay out hundreds of clear and concrete policy recommendations for White House offices, cabinet departments, Congress, and agencies, commissions, and boards. Just as important as the scope of the Conservatives' promises recommendations is the breadth of its authorship. This book is the product of more than 400 scholars and policy experts from across the conservative movement and around the country. Contributors include former elected officials, world-renowned economists, and veterans from our 4 presidential administrations. This is an agenda, so we're talking about agendas, prepared by and for conservatives who will be ready on day 1 of the next administration to save our country from the brink of disaster. The Heritage Foundation is once again facilitating this work. But as our dozens of partners and hundreds of authors will attest, this book is the work of the entire conservative movement. As such, the authors express consensus recommendations already forged, especially along 4 broad fronts that will decide America's future. 1, or should I say the first one? Restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. 2nd, dismantle the administrative state and return self-governance to the American people. 3, defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. And 4th, secure our God-given individual rights to live freely, what our Constitution calls the blessing of liberty. Again, it is very hypocritical that the first 3 pillars are about taking everybody else's shit away. That you don't want inclusion. You talk about queer people and black people want special rights. Inclusion is special rights? Seems like special rights means exclusion, means superiority, means I get to have it and you don't get to have it. Y'all just finding a way to be able to say that now it's our turn. And when we look in history again, there's always been one side get a little bit of freedom, the other side get a little bit of freedom, then the one side gets it again, and then this side gets it again, instead of trying to find a way to where we all, and I know people believe that all cannot happen, but that's for hoes who can't see it for themselves. There are people in the world who do see it. And it's crazy that people want to be exempt from being with everybody else. But then when your ass is in trouble, you want motherfuckers around you. You gotta make it make sense, boo. What makes these 4 pieces of the conservative promise so valuable to the next president is that they cut through superficial distractions and focus on the moral and foundational challenges America faces in this moment of history. This was one of the secrets of the conservatives' success in the Reagan era. One our generation should emulate. As in the late 1970s, Americans today experience the failures of political and cultural elites in countless ways. In the job market, in the grocery store checkout lines, on the streets and in our schools, in the media and within our institutions. But in truth, these daily dysfunctions are not innumerable problems, but innumerable manifestations of a few core crises. In 1979, the threats we faced were the Soviet Union, the socialism of the 1970 liberals, and the predatory deviancy of cultural elites. Reagan defeated these beasts by ignoring their tentacles and striking instead at their hearts. His approach to the Cold War: we win and they lose. His economic agenda: the human dignity of work and its many rewards. His platform in the culture wars: the community of values embodied in these words: family, work, neighborhood, peace, and freedom. Just like organized religion, we gonna put out the peace and the freedom and the love, and God wants you, and it don't matter what you've been through in your life, and He can change your life and all this stuff. But y'all don't know how to handle people like Christ did. And instead of you walking in love, why do that when we can just do like we've been doing? Get rid of these motherfuckers. This book and Project 2025 as a whole will arm the next conservative president with the same kind of strategic clarity, but for a new age. Now here come the triggering part, y'all. Especially for the queer community. Happy Pride, bitch. I'm about to take me a sip. Hold on. All right, y'all. Every time I hit the mute button, girl, this shit pop up. Damn. Promise 1. Restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. Not protect children in general, including black children, including queer children, but our children, our Christian children. I'm pretty sure Christ would be like, no, y'all getting it wrong. Everybody's my father's child. The next conservative president must get to work pursuing the true priority of politics, the well-being of the American family. In many ways, the entire point of centralizing political power is to subvert the family. Its purpose is to replace people's natural loves and loyalties with unnatural ones. You see this in the popular left-wing aphorism. Government is simply the name we give to the things we choose to do together. But in real life, most of the things people do together have nothing to do with government. These are the mediating institutions that serve as the building blocks of any healthy society. Marriage, family, work, church, school, volunteering. The name real people give to the things we do together is community, not government. Our lives are full of interwoven, overlapping communities, and our individual and collective happiness depends on them. Oh, really? But the most important community in each of our lives and the life of the nation is the family. Today, the American family is in crisis. 40% of all children are born to unmarried mothers, including more than 70% of black children. There is no government program that can replace the hole in a child's soul cut out by the absence of a father. Fatherlessness is one of the principal sources of American poverty, crime, mental illness, teen suicide, substance abuse, rejection of the church, and high school dropouts. So many of the problems government programs are designed to solve, but can't, are ultimately problems created by the crisis of marriage and the family. The world has never seen a thriving, healthy, free, and prosperous society where most children grow up without their married parents. If current trends continue, excuse me, we are headed towards social implosion. Furthermore, the next conservative president must understand that using government alone to respond to symptoms of the family crisis is a dead one. Federal power must instead be wielded to reverse the crisis and rescue America's kids from familial breakdown. The conservative promise includes dozens of specific policies to accomplish this existential task. Some are obvious and long-standing goals like eliminating marriage penalties and federal welfare programs and the tax code, and installing work requirements for food stamps. But we must go further. It's time for policymakers to elevate family authority, formation, and cohesion as their top priority, and even use government power, including through the tax code, to restore the American family. Now, today, the left is threatening the tax-exempt statuses of churches and charities that reject woke progressivism. Progressivism, girl, being progressive. They will soon turn to Christian schools and clubs with the same totalitarian intent. The conservative president must make the institutions of American civil society hard targets for woke culture warriors. This starts with deleting the terms sexual orientation and gender identity, diversity, equity, and inclusion, gender equality, gender equity, gender awareness, gender sensitive, abortion, reproductive health, reproductive rights, and any other term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights out of every federal rule, agency regulation, contract grant regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. Pornography, manifested today in the omnipresent propagation of transgendered ideology and sexualization of children, for instance, is not a political Gordian knot inextricably binding up desperate claims about free speech, property rights, sexual liberation, and child welfare. It has no claim to First Amendment protection. Its purveyors are child predators and misogynistic exploiters of women. Their product is as addictive as any illicit drug and as psychologically destructive as any crime. Pornography should be outlawed. The people who produce and distribute it should be in prison. Educators and public librarians who purvey it should be classified as registered sex offenders. And telecommunications and technology firms that facilitate its spread should be shuttered. In our schools, the question of parental authority over their children's education is a simple one. Schools serve parents, not the other way around. That is, of course, the best argument for universal school choice, a goal all conservatives and conservative presidents must pursue. But even before we achieve that long-term goal, parents' rights as their children's primary educators should be non-negotiable in American schools. States, cities, and counties, school boards, union bosses, principals, and teachers who disagree should be immediately cut off from federal funds. The noxious tenets of critical race theory and gender ideology should be excised from curricula in every public school in the country. These theories poison our children, who are being taught on the one hand to affirm that the color of their skin fundamentally determines their identity and even their moral status, while on the other they are taught to deny the very creaturelessness that inheres in being human and consists in accepting the giveness of our nature as men or women. Allowing parents or physicians to reassign the sex of a minor is child abuse and must end. For public institutions to use taxpayer dollars to declare the superiority or inferiority of certain races, sexes, and religions is a violation of the Constitution and civil rights laws and cannot be tolerated by any government anywhere in the country. But the pro-family promises expressed in this book and the central to the next conservative president's agenda must go much further than the traditional narrow definition of family issues. Every threat to family stability must be confronted. I hope y'all including the Reagan shit as far as putting black people in jail for longer sentences. This is the thing when I mean there's no emotional intelligence and awareness. You start hating and putting things out that try to take away from other people, not realizing that you be including yourself in that as well. So I hope y'all ready for that. Okay? This resolve should color each of our policies. Consider our approach to big tech. The worst of these companies prey on children, like drug dealers, to get them addicted to their mobile apps. Many Silicon Valley executives famously don't let their own kids have smartphones. They nevertheless make billions of dollars addicting other people's children to theirs. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms are specifically designed to create, wait for this page to load, y'all, digital dependencies that fuel mental illness and anxiety. To fray children's bonds with their parents and siblings, federal policy cannot allow these industrial-scale child abuse to continue. And finally, conservatives should gratefully celebrate the greatest pro-family win in our generation: overturning Roe versus Wade. A decision that, for 5 decades, made a mockery of our Constitution and facilitated the deaths of tens of millions of unborn children. But the Dobbs decision is just the beginning. Conservatives in the states and in Washington, including in the next conservative administration, should push as hard as possible to protect the unborn in every jurisdiction in America. In particular, the next conservative president should work with Congress to enact the most robust protections for the unborn that Congress will support, while deploying existing federal powers to protect innocent life and vigorously complying with statutory bans on the federal funding of abortion. Conservatives should ardently pursue these pro-life and pro-family policies while recognizing the many women who find themselves in immensely difficult and often tragic situations, and the heroism of every choice to become a mother. Alternative options to abortion, especially adoption, should receive federal and state support, but when we look at the adoption rate and people who've been through the adoption and foster care system, girl, they speak about how horrible it is. And how there's a lot of predatory shit that be happening in there as well as the many children that go missing every day. See, if y'all gonna talk about it, talk about all of it. And I gotta believe that's why they killed Christ, because Christ was saying, ho, walk this shit out. Y'all be playing like y'all know God, and the only God y'all know is death and destruction, and y'all gotta be the ones to do that. That's the only time you'll let God use you, when it's time to destroy shit. In summary, the next president has a more responsibility to lead the nation in restoring a culture of life in America. Again, I'm not gonna be able to read y'all comments because I'm looking at another screen, y'all. So I'm just trying to blaze through these. We got 3 more promises, girl. Again, make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all got y'all something to smoke on, sip on. Again, listen to this in the background. Ain't nothing on the screen right now except the thumbnail with some effects on it. I want you to listen. Listen. Whatever fear that you may have, whatever's happening right now, it's time to confront that. That's the one thing that I think they're afraid of when it comes down to oppressed groups of people. We know how to do the one thing that they're afraid to do, which is to survive, girl. This is the land of the free, and it's so crazy, girl, that motherfuckers still fighting to be free, and we're supposed to be free, girl. That's why I guess it's called the American dream, girl. Stay your ass asleep, because if you wake up, you'll wake up to the nightmare. And some people rather go back to sleep, girl, than deal with the nightmare. Promise 2. Dismantle the administrative state and return self-governance to the American people. Of course, the surest way to put the federal government back to work for the American people is to reduce its size and sculpt back to something resembling the original constitutional intent. Conservatives desire a smaller government, not for its own sake, but for the sake of human flourishing. But the Washington establishment doesn't want a constitutionally limited government because it means they lose power and are held more accountable by the people who put them in power. Like restoring popular sovereignty, the task of reattaching the federal government's constitutional and democratic tethers calls to mind Ronald Reagan's observation that there are no easy answers, but there are simple answers. In the case of making the federal government smaller, more effective, and accountable, the simple answer is the Constitution itself. The surest proof of this is how strenuously and creatively generations of progressives and many Republican insiders have worked to cut themselves free from the strictures of the 1789 Constitution and subsequent amendments. Consider the federal budget. Under current law, Congress is required to pass a budget and 12 issue-specific spending bills comporting with it every single year. The last time Congress did so was in 1996. Congress no longer meaningfully budgets, authorizes, and categorizes spending. Instead, party leaders negotiate one multi-trillion-dollar spending bill, several thousand pages long, and then votes on it before anyone literally has had a chance to read it. Debate time is restricted, amendments are prohibited, and all of this is backed up against a midnight deadline when the previous omnibus spending bill will run out and federal government shuts down. This process is not designed to empower 330 million American citizens and their elected representatives, but rather to empower the party elites secretly negotiating without any public scrutiny or oversight. Wow. I hope y'all do that in the Republican Party first, boo. In the end, congressional leaders' behavior and incentives here are no different from those of global elites insulating policy decisions over the climate, trade, public health, you name it, from the sovereignty of national electorates. Public scrutiny and democratic accountability make life harder for policymakers, so they skirt it. It's not dysfunction. It's corruption. And despite its gaudy price tag, the federal budget is not even close to the worst example of this corruption. That distinction belongs to the administrative state, the dismantling of which must be a top priority for the next conservative president. The term administrative state refers to the policy-making work done by the bureaucracies of all the federal government's departments, agencies, and millions of employees. Under Article 1 of the Constitution, all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. That is, federal law is enacted only by elected legislators in both houses of Congress. This exclusive authority was part of the framers' doctrine of separated powers. They not only split the federal government's legislative, executive, and judicial powers into different branches, they also gave each branch checks over the others. Now, under our Constitution, the legislative branch, Congress, is far and away the most powerful and, correspondingly, the most accountable of the people, or to the people, excuse me. In recent decades, members of the House and Senate discovered that if they give away that power to the Article 2 branch of the government, they can also deny responsibility for its actions. So today in Washington, most policy is no longer set by Congress at all, but by the administrative state. Given the choice between being powerful but vulnerable or irrelevant but famous, most of the members of Congress have chosen the latter. Congress passes intentionally vague laws that delegates decision-making over a given issue to a federal agency. That agency's bureaucrats, not just unelected but seemingly unfireable, then leap at the chance to fill the vacuum created by Congress's preening cowardice. The federal government is growing larger and less constitutionally accountable, even to the president every year. Girl, well, I hope that y'all hold this nigga accountable, girl, cause ain't Donald Trump motherfucking charged, nigga. A combination of elected and unelected bureaucrats at the Environmental Protection Agency quietly strangles domestic energy production through difficult to understand rulemaking processes. Bureaucrats and the Department of Homeland Security, following the lead of a feckless administration, order border and immigration enforcement agencies to help migrants criminally enter our country with impunity. I mean, no shade. Didn't y'all do that to black people with the Homestead Act? That the money and the resources that was supposed to go to the descendants of to the slaves at that time, girl, who fought, and descendants of slaves, girl, us too. We supposed to have generational wealth too, bitch, the fuck? When that happened and we helped y'all win the war, girl, and then the person who was supposed to help usher that in for the black community, girl, was assassinated, girl, and someone was put in his place that literally gave that money to Europeans coming into America. That to this day, a nice chunk of white America is eating off of money that is owed to black people. And just like they said, not just by inheritance, but by fighting for it. We fought for it. We've always been fighting for it. Bureaucrats at the Department of Education inject racist, anti-American, ahistorical propaganda into America's classroom. Critical race theory, girl. Bureaucrats at the Department of Justice force school districts to undermine girls' sports and parents' rights to satisfy transgender extremists. Woke bureaucrats at the Pentagon force troops to attend training seminars about white privilege, and bureaucrats at the State Department infuse U.S. foreign aid programs with woke extremism about intersectionality and abortion. Unaccountable federal spending is the secret lifeblood of the Great Awakening. Nearly every power center held by the left is funded or supported one way or another through the bureaucracy by Congress. Colleges and school districts are funded by tax dollars. The administrative state holds 100% of its power at the sufferance of Congress, and its insulation from presidential discipline is an unconstitutional fairy tale spun by the Washington establishment to protect its turf. Members of Congress shield themselves from constitutional accountability, often when the White House allows them to get away with it. Cultural institutions like public libraries and public health agencies are only as independent from public accountability as elected officials and voters permit. Let's be clear, the most egregious regulations promulgated by the current administration come from one place: the Oval Office. The president cannot hide behind the agencies. As his many executive orders make clear, His is the responsibility for the regulations that threaten American communities, schools, and families. A conservative president must move swiftly to do away with these vast abuses of presidential power and remove the career and political bureaucrats who fuel it. Meanwhile, y'all about to put somebody... Girl. See, this is the thing. A lot of people have talked the talk, but then what happens is that the universe provides you with the opportunity to walk the walk. Y'all are going to allow Donald Trump, an individual who objectively and factually has done horrible things and used his money and his resources and his connection to hide from accountability, girl. The same thing that y'all say that is going on in the government today, you trying to do your own Christian version of it. Properly considered, restoring fiscal limits and constitutional accountability to the federal government is a continuation of restoring national sovereignty to the American people. In foreign affairs, global strategy, federal budgeting, and policymaking, the same pattern emerges again and again. Ruling elites slash and tear at restrictions and accountability placed on them. They centralize power up and away from the American people. The supranational treaties and organizations to left-wing experts to cite unseen all or nothing legislating to the unelected career bureaucrats of the administrative state. As monolithic as the left's institutional power appears to be, it originates with appropriations from Congress and is made complete by a feckless... Girl, I gotta eat something, girl. Feckless, half-dead, sleepy president. A conservative president must look to the legislative branch for decisive action. The administrative state is not going anywhere until Congress acts to retrieve its own power from bureaucrats and the White House. But in the meantime, there are many executive tools a courageous conservative president can use to handcuff the bureaucracy, push Congress to return to its constitutional responsibility, restore power over Washington to the American people, bring the administrative state to heel, and in the process, defang and defund the woke culture warriors who have infiltrated every last institution in America. The conservative promise lays out how to use many of these tools, including how to fire supposedly unfireable federal bureaucrats, how to shutter wasteful and corrupt bureaus and offices, how to muzzle woke propaganda at every level of government, how to restore the American people's constitutional authority over the administrative state, and how to save untold taxpayers' dollars in the process. Finally, the president can restore public confidence and accountability in our most important government function of all: national defense. The American people desire a military full of highly skilled servicemen and women who can protect the homeland and our interests overseas. The next conservative president must end the left's social experimentation with the military, restore war fighting as its sole mission, and set defeating the threat of the Chinese Communist Party as its highest priority. The next conservative president must possess the courage to relentlessly put the interest of the everyday American over the desires of the ruling elite. Their outrage cannot be prevented. it must simply be ignored. And it can be. The left derives its power from the institutions they control, but those institutions are only powerful to the extent that the constitutional officers surrender their own legitimate authority to them. A president who refuses to do so and use his or her office to reimpose constitutional authority over federal policymaking can begin to correct decades of corruption and remove thousands of bureaucrats from the positions of public trust they have so long abused. Promise 3. Defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. The United States belongs to we, the people. All government authority derives from the consent of the people, and our nation's success derives from the character of its people. The American people's right to rule ourselves, is to I'm gonna read that again. Andrew, call it back up, bitch. We almost done, girl. Let's not do it now. You should have came in the beginning, girl, when I was talking. The American people's right to rule ourselves is the obverse of our duty. We cannot outsource to others our obligation to ensure the conditions that allow our families, local communities, churches, and synagogues and neighborhoods to thrive. The buck stops with each of us, so each of us must have the freedom to pursue the good for ourselves and those entrusted to our care. Wow. Not y'all out here trying to be the hero and the villain at the same time, girl. To most Americans, this is common sense. But in Washington, D.C. and other centers of leftist power like the media and the academy, this statement of basic civics is branded hate speech. Progressive elites speak in lofty terms of openness, progress, expertise, cooperation, and globalization, girl. But too often, these terms are just rhetorical Trojan horses concealing their true intention, stripping we, the people, of our constitutional authority over our country's future. America's corporate and political elites do not believe in the ideals to which our nation is dedicated: self-governance, the rule of law, and ordered liberty. They certainly do not trust the American people, and they disdain the Constitution's restrictions on their ambitions. Instead, they believe in a kind of 21st century Wilsonian order, which the enlightened, highly educated managerial elite runs things, while the humble, patriotic working families who make up the majority of what the elites contemporaneously call flyover country. I know I messed that last part up, y'all, but it is what it is. This Wilsonian hubris has spread like a cancer through many of America's largest corporations, its public institutions, and its popular culture. Those who run our so-called American corporations have bent to the will of the woke agenda and care more for their foreign investors and organizations than their American workers and customers. Today, nearly every top-tier U.S. university president or Wall Street hedge fund manager has more in common with the socialist European head of state than with the parents at a high school football game in Waco, Texas. Many elites' entire identity, it seems, is wrapped up in their sense of superiority over those people. Not reverse racism, girl, but under our Constitution, under our Constitution, they are the mere equals of the workers who shower after work instead of before. This is as it should and must be. Intellectual sophistication, advanced degrees, financial success, and all other markers of elite status have no bearing on a person's knowledge of the one thing most necessary for governance, what it means to live well. Oh, girl. That knowledge is available to each of us, no matter how humble our backgrounds or how unpretentious our attainments. It is open to us to read in the book of human nature, to which we are all offered the key just by merit of our shared humanity. One of the great promises of American political life is that everyone who can read in that book must have a voice in deciding the course and fate of our republic. But y'all want to silence the voices of black people and queer people and women. So you get to set out to pretend to be victims when you are the victimizer. Wow. Progressive policymakers and pundits in America either fail to understand this premise or intentionally reject it. They enthusiastically support supranational organizations like the United Nations and European nations. Lord, Andrew, back up, bitch. European Union, which are run and staffed almost entirely by people who share their values and are mostly insulated from the influence of national elections. That's why they are eager for America to sign international treaties on everything from pharmaceutical patents to climate change to the rights of the child. And while those treaties invariably endorse policies that could never pass through the U.S. Congress, like the progressive Woodrow Wilson a century ago, the woke left today seek a world bound by global treaties they write, in which they exercise dictatorial powers over all nations without being subject to democratic accountability. Girl, didn't they say that Trump ass is low-key trying to be the last and only president, girl? But yet, this didn't age well. That's why today's progressive left so cavalierly supports open borders despite the lawlessness humanitarian crisis their policy created along America's southern border. They seek to purge the very concept of the nation state from the American ethos. No matter how much crime increases or resources drop for schools and hospitals or wages decrease for the working class, open border activism is a classic example of what the German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer, girl, called cheap grace. Publicly promoting one's own virtue without risking any personal inconvenience. Indeed, the only direct impact of open borders on pro-open border elites is that the constant flow of illegal immigration suppresses the wages of their housekeepers, landscapers, and busboys. Not busboys, girl. Cheap grace aptly describes the left's love affair with environmental extremism. Those who suffer most from policies environmentalism would have us enact are the aged, poor, and vulnerable. It is not a political cause, but a pseudo-religion meant to baptize liberals' ruthless pursuit of absolute power in the holy water of environmental virtue. Whoa. Come on, wordplay. At its very heart, environmental extremism is decidedly anti-human. Stewardship and conservation are supplanted by population control and economic regression. Environmental ideologies would ban the fuels that run almost all the world's cars, planes, factories, farms, and electricity grids, abandoning confidence in human resilience and creativity in responding to the challenges of the future would raise impediment to the most meaningful human activities. They would stand human affairs on their head, regarding human activity itself as fundamentally a threat to be sacrificed to the God of nature. Not y'all reading the fuck out of Mother Nature, girl. The same goals are the heart of elite support for economic globalization. For 30 years, America's political, economic, and cultural leaders embraced and enriched communist China and its genocidal Communist Party while hollowing out America's industrial base. What may have started out with good intentions has now been made clear. Unfettered trade with China has been a catastrophe. It has made a handful of American corporations enormously profitable while twisting their business incentives away from the American people's needs. For a generation, politicians of both parties promised that engagement with Beijing would grow our economy while injecting American values into China. The opposite has happened. American factories have closed. Jobs have been outsourced. Our manufacturing economy has been financialized, and all along, the corporations profiting failed to export our values of human rights and freedom. Rather, they imported China's anti-American values into their C-suites. Even before the rise of big tech, Wall Street ignored China's serial theft of American intellectual property. It outright cheered the elimination of American manufacturing jobs. Learn to code, they would gloat. Learn to code, they would gloat. These were just the price of progress, okay? Engagement was at every step Beijing's project, not America's. The Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP, girl, dictated terms only to break them whenever it suited them. They stole our technology, spied on our people, and threatened our allies, all with trillions of dollars of wealth and military power financed by access to our market. Then came the rise of big tech, which is now less a contributor to the U.S. economy than it is a tool of China's government. In exchange for cheap labor and regulatory special treatment from Beijing, America's largest technology firms funnel data about Americans to the CCP. They hand over sensitive intellectual property with military and intelligence applications to keep the money rolling in. They let Beijing censor Chinese users on their platforms. They let the CCP set their corporate policies about mobile apps. They run interference from our rivals' political priorities in Washington. One side of big tech companies' business model is old-fashioned American competitiveness and world-changing technological innovation. But increasingly, that side of these businesses is overshadowed by their role as operatives in the lucrative employ of America's most dangerous international enemy. If you want to understand the danger posed by collaboration between big tech and the CCP, look no further than TikTok. The highly addictive video app used by 80 million Americans every month and overwhelmingly popular among teenage girls is in effect a tool of Chinese espionage. The ties between TikTok and the Chinese government are not loose, and they are not coincidental. The same can be observed of many U.S. colleges and universities. Through the CCP's Confucius Institutes, Beijing has been just as successful at compromising and co-opting our higher education system as they have at comprising and co-opting corporate America. A casual reader might take the last few pages as surveying a broad array of challenges facing the American people and the next conservative president. Supranational policymaking border security, globalization, engagement with China, manufacturing, big tech, and Beijing compromise colleges. But these really are not many issues, but two. First, that China is a totalitarian enemy of the United States, not a strategic partner or fair competitor. And second, that America's elites have betrayed the American people. The solution to all of the above problems is not to tinker with this or that government program, to replace this or that bureaucrat. These are problems not of technocratic efficiency, but of national sovereignty and constitutional governance. We solve them not by trimming and reshaping the leaves, but ripping out the trees, root and branch. International organizations and agreements that erode our Constitution, rule of law, or popular sovereignty should not be reformed. They should be abandoned. Illegal immigration should be ended, not mitigated. The border sealed, not reprioritized. Economic engagement with China should be ended, not rethought. Our manufacturing and industrial base should be restored, not allowed to deteriorate further. Confucius Institutes, TikTok, and any other arm of Chinese propaganda and espionage should be outlawed, not merely monitored. Universities taking money from the CCP should lose their accreditation, charters, and eligibility for federal funds. The next conservative president should go beyond merely defending America's energy interest, but go on offense, asserting them around the fucking world, y'all. America's vast reserves of oil and natural gas are not an environmental problem. They're not, y'all. They are the lifeline of economic growth. American dominance of the global energy market would be a good thing for the world, and more importantly for we, the people. It's not just about jobs, even though unleashing domestic energy production would create millions of them. It's not just about higher wages for workers who didn't go to college, though they would receive the raises they have missed out on for 2 generations. Full spectrum strategic energy dominance would facilitate the reinvigoration of America's entire industrial and manufacturing sector as we disentangle our economy from China. Globally, it would rebalance power away from dangerous regimes in Russia and the Middle East. It would build powerful alliances with fast-growing nations in Africa and provide us the leverage to counter Chinese ambitions in South America and the Pacific. Locally, it would drive billions of dollars of private investment to the communities that have been hammered by globalization since the 90s. And it would clarify our intentions to Beijing that the next president can ensure that a large part of America's reindustrialization is in the production of the equipment we will need to dissuade the future foreign meddling with U.S. vital interests. And lastly, the fourth promise that is like a slap in the face. To the American people, including American queer people, American black people, American women, oppressed groups of people. Promise 4. Secure our God-given individual right to enjoy the blessing of liberty. The Declaration of Independence famously asserted the belief of America's founders that all men are created equal, and endowed with God-given rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But it's the last, the pursuit of happiness, that is central to America's heroic experiment in self-government. When the founders spoke of pursuit of happiness, what they meant might be understood today as, in essence, pursuit of blessedness. That is, an individual must be free to live as his Creator ordained, to flourish. Our Constitution grants each of us the liberty to do our Constitution grants each of us the liberty to do not what would, Lord, because I really want to stress that. Our Constitution grants each of us the liberty to do not what we want, but what we ought. This pursuit of the good life is found primarily in family, marriage, children, Thanksgiving dinners, and the like. Many find happiness through their work. Think of the dedicated teachers or healthcare professionals, entrepreneurs or plumbers throwing themselves into their business. Anyone who sees a job well done as a personal reward. Religious devotion and spirituality are the greatest sources of happiness around the world. Still, others find themselves happiest in their local voluntary communities of friends, their neighbors, their civic or charitable work. The American Republic was founded on principles prioritizing and maximizing individuals' rights to live their best life or to enjoy what the framers called the blessings of liberty. It is this radical equality, liberty for all, not just of rights, but of authority, that the rich and powerful have hated about democracy in America since 1776. They resent Americans' audacity in insisting that we don't need them to tell us how to live. In this inalienable right of self-direction, of each person's opportunity to direct him or herself and his or her community to the good that the ruling class disdains. With the Declaration and Constitution, our nation's founders handed to us the means with which to preserve this right. Abraham Lincoln wrote of the Declaration as an apple of gold in a silver frame. The Constitution. So must the next conservative president look to these documents when the elites mount their next assault on liberty. Left to our own devices, the American people rejected European monarchy and colonialism, just as we rejected slavery, second-class citizenship for women, mercantilism, socialism, Wilsonian globalism, fascism, communism, and today, wokeism. To the left, these assertions of patriotic self-assurance are just so many signs of our moral depravity and intellectual inferiority, proof that, in fact, we need a ruling elite making decisions for us. But the next conservative president should be proud, not ashamed of Americans' unique culture of social equality and ordered liberty. After all, the countries where Marxist elites have won political and economic power are all weaker, poorer, and less free from it. The United States remains the most innovative and upwardly mobile society in the world. Government should stop trying to substitute its own preferences for those of the people. And the next conservative president should champion the dynamic genius of free enterprise against the grim miseries of elite-directed socialism. The promise of socialism, communism, Marxism, progressivism, fascism, whatever name it chooses, is simple. Government control of the economy can ensure equal outcomes for all people. The problem is that it has never done so. There is no such thing as the government. There are just people who work for the government and wield its power, and who, at almost every opportunity, wield it to serve themselves first and everyone else a distant second. This is not a failing of one's nation or socialist party, but inherent in human nature. Nighttime satellite images of Korean Peninsula famously shown the free market South lit up with homes, businesses, and cities electrified from coast to coast. By contrast, communist North Korea is almost completely dark, except for the small dot of the capital city, Pyongyang, where a psychotic dictator and his cronies live, no shade. The same phenomenon is on display in the infuriating fact that 4 of the 6 richest counties in the United States are the suburbs of Washington, D.C., a city infamous for its lack of native productive industries. We see the same corruption expressed on an individual level whenever billionaire climate activists who want to outlaw carbon-fueled transportation to fly A-list conferences on their private jets. Or when COVID-19 shut down politicians like former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and California Governor Gavin Newsom were caught at the hair salon or dining at a fancy restaurant after moralizing about how everyone else must stay home and forego such luxuries during the pandemic. For socialists, who are almost always well-to-do, socialism is not a means of equalizing outcomes, but a means of accumulating power. They never get around to helping anyone else. The Soviet Empire was a social and economic failure. North Korea, despite the opulence of its tyrants, is one of the poorest nations in the world. Cuba is so corrupt that its people regularly risk their lives to escape to Florida on rafts. Venezuela was once the richest nation in South America. Today, a decade after a Marxist dictator took over, 94% of Venezuelans live in poverty. Even Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders' home state of Vermont was forced to repeal the state's single-payer healthcare system just 3 years after creating it. See, in every case, socialist elites promised that if only they could direct the economy, everything would be better. Very quickly, everything got worse. In socialist nation after socialist nation, the only way the government could keep its disgruntled people in line was to surveil and terrorize them. By contrast, in countries with a high degree of economic freedom, elites are not in charge because everyone is in charge. People work, build, invest, save, and create according to their own interest and in service to the common good of their fellow citizens. There is a reason why the private economy hews to the maxim, the customer is always right, while government bureaucracies are notoriously user-unfriendly, just as there is a reason why private charities are cheerful and government welfare systems are not. It's not because grocery store clerks and PTA moms are good and federal bureaucrats are bad. It's because private enterprises for profit or nonprofit, must cooperate to give to succeed. So as the American people take back their sovereignty, constitutional authority, respect for their families and communities, they should also take back their right to pursue the good life. The next president should promote pro-growth economic policies that spur new jobs and investment, higher wages, and productivity. Yes, that agenda should include overdue tax and regulatory reform, but it should go further and include antitrust enforcement against corporate monopolies. It should promote educational opportunities outside the woke-dominated system of public schools and universities, including trade schools, apprenticeship programs, and student loan alternatives that fund students' dreams instead of Marxist academies. Just as important as expanding opportunities for workers and small businesses, the next president should crack down on the crony capitalist corruption that enables America's largest corporations to profit through political influence rather than competitive enterprise and customer satisfaction, girl. But when black people founded Black Wall Street, girl, what did y'all do to them? And I'm pretty sure the people that did it to them were not democratic. Analogous pro-growth reforms for America's voluntary civil society are also in order. America is not an economy, it's a country. Economic freedom is not the only important freedom. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and the freedom to assemble also represent key components of the American promise. Today, in addition to the problem of big tech censorship, we see speakers at universities shouted down, parents investigated and arrested for attempting to speak at school board meetings, and donors to conservatives' causes harassed and intimidated. The next conservative president must defend our First Amendment rights. And this is the best effort part. I think this is the end, y'all. Ultimately, the left does not believe that all men are created equal. They think they are special. They certainly don't think all people have an inalienable right to pursue the good life. They think only they themselves have such a right, along with the moral responsibility to make decisions for everyone else. They don't think any citizen, state, business, church, or charity should be allowed any freedom until they first bend the knee. See, this book, this agenda, the entire Project 2025 is a plan to unite the conservative movement and the American people against the elite rule and the woke culture warriors. Our movement has not been united in recent years, and our country has paid the price. In the past decade, the breakdown of the family, the rise of China, the Great Awakening, big tech abuses, and the erosion of constitutional accountability in Washington have rendered these divisions not just inconvenient, but politically suicidal. Every hour, the left directs federal policy and elite institutions. Our sovereignty, our constitution, our families, and our freedom are a step closer to disappearing. Conservatives have just 2 years and one shot to get this right. With enemies at home and abroad, there is no margin for error. Time is running short. If we fail, the fight for the very idea of America may be lost, but we should take this small window of opportunity we have left to act with confidence and courage, not despair. The last time our nation and movement were so near defeat, we rallied together behind a great leader and great ideas, transcended our differences, rescued our nation, and changed the world. It's time to do it again. Now, as then, we know who we are fighting and what we are fighting for. for our republic, excuse me, let me say it again. For our republic, our freedom, and for each other. The next conservative president will enter office on January 20th, 2025, with a simple choice: greatness or failure. It will be a daunting test, but no more so than every generation of Americans has faced and passed. The conservative promise represents the best effort of the conservative movement in 2023, and the next conservative president's last opportunity to save our republic. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the synopsis, the treatment of what Project 2025 is about. Someone once said, and I'm see if I can remember it verbatim. Dealing with accountability when you have privilege can feel like an attack or an assault on you. I smoke weed every day, and I know that there's a stereotype about potheads having to lose brain cells and shit and be sounding dumb and all that type of shit, girl. Y'all gonna believe what y'all want to believe, but at the same time, we are literally watching a fucking time machine be offered to a president to say we have to go back this way. And that's why I say, like, when we talk about these distractions, upholding racism, upholding queerphobia, xenophobia, all this shit, and then using the Bible and religion as a way to keep solidifying and inflating that fear, there are things that are happening above us that's going to affect all of humanity. Now, there were some things, I'm just going to be objective, that they said that in a sense I can somewhat agree with. And what I agree with is part 4, about all men being equal. What these people are doing are demonizing the progression of oppressed groups of people so that we can be equal. See, the reason why they call our rights special is because they're so used to talking bad about us and doing things to us to where now they're going to deal with accountability for discriminating. And now the shoe is on the other foot to help you understand. And instead of learning from that experience so that we can build reconciliation where all parties involved can actually build equality and equity, it's a I got you, you got me, I got you, and you got me, and I got you, you got. It's a constant back and forth, and it continues to happen for generation to generation to generation. Why am I, an individual who is gonna be 33 on Saturday, why am I still saying the same shit, repeating the same sentiments of people who came before me? Why? But that's why this is a spiritual age, baby, because spirit about to handle that ass, girl. You don't give a fuck if you Republican, Democrat, black, white, gay, straight, American, Venezuelan. It don't matter who you are. If you are a human being, yeah, we are all getting checked. Did you hear all those names they used to call that shit? how they demonize the progression of other people. And at the same time, at the end of it, girl, write it as if though they're the ones who are the heroes of history at the expense of oppressed groups of people, girl. They want white people. They want people who are Christian and who are family oriented and stuff to succeed while everybody else does not. But then they will sit up here and exclude queer parents, exclude queer children. Do y'all fucking understand? Do y'all fucking get it? This is not no motherfucking movie. This is not a Netflix original, bitch, that we can pause. I don't want to see that, girl. No, this is real life. I'm gonna give you my last thoughts. I'm gonna read y'all comments, and I'm gonna give me something to eat because I'm hungry. We the people are going to have to do something. And when I say we the people, I mean, I'm not talking about just Republican, just Democratic, girl. I'm talking about both parties, bitch, for the people who connect to humanity. Because even though there are people who are following the herd mind that is being led and controlled on both motherfucking sides, girl. Because y'all can't sit over here and talk about righteousness and value and God-given shit like that, and you're willing to elect a president, girl, who has done everything except what the fuck y'all stand for. That shows how desperate y'all are. But goddamn it, the left is desperate too. Because the nigga who is running for president, girl, half dead, be falling asleep, girl, about to have an aneurysm, girl. What? My hope and dream, if I had the chance to have some sort of say in things, after this election, there needs to be a third party and a real, true, genuine ended party, We the People Party. And it needs to be comprised and mixed up and shown what the fuck equality and inclusion looks like, and show all these hoes that feel like it's not fucking possible because of a goddamn book that they misinterpret, even though the main person that book was doing and shit, girl. Let's show them what the fuck it looked like. Imagine the sea of black people, white people, all types of people, all type of religious beliefs, all type of sexual orientations and gender identities coming together under the umbrella of humanity. Oh wait, that was the fucking hippie era. That was the fucking hippie movement where, oh, love is love, man, and all this shit. Y'all didn't like that shit because that shit wasn't profitable. Because again, like they said, the most important thing to them is war. That's why they need family, baby. They need y'all to keep busting nuts and pumping these children out to work for us. That's why a lot of y'all white people who hate critical race theory, girl, y'all are afraid, because now if we do critical race theory, we get to expose the blueprint that has now been put onto Americans. Y'all care so much about children, yet children being sex trafficked every day. Sometimes I'll be like, girl, this is some goddamn end games, Hunger Games bullshit. They just lay their plan out, y'all, and I'm probably going to just say this, and I hope I'm wrong, but I have a very big feeling that Trump is going to be president. I'm going to vote, even though I said I don't believe in this political system, girl. It's the lesser of two evils, and I'm tired. Why is there always a lesser of two evils, bitch? It's evil, ho. The fuck? Let's deal with the evil, bitch. Instead of there being the lesser of two evil. Oh, because some of the motherfuckers that's drafting this bill, girl, some of you motherfuckers are evil. So you gotta leave a little room and grace for your evil ass to do your shit, girl. It's just that the same people you talking about, girl, it's just that now I get to have my power, bitch. I get to do you, bitch. Anyway, I'm gonna get to y'all comments. That shit been 2 hours. And again, I would ask that y'all please go ahead and read the rest of it for yourself. Do your due deals. Come on, y'all. And the reason why I think a lot of us gonna be fucked up is because at least in the motherfucking 60s and 70s, girl, especially with black people, there were black delegations, girl, on TV talking. We have lost that strategic part. But do you know what I think is also happening? There is an opportunity for the people, and I mean the real people, the people of humanity, to where these individuals, like they said, it's the last hope. It's the last hope to their false ass world. They probably saying the same thing about us, girl, but we gonna see who false and who not, bitch. Their world of luxury that has been built on the backs of black people, queer people, oppressed groups of people. Accountability is coming. And a real true leader will stand to be accountable first. Because he's leading. And that's the problem. Wokeism is trying to teach people how to be their own motherfucking leader. Y'all saying, well, we need people to think for them. Well, obviously, y'all spent all this money and time to tell this president what you want him to think. And you have let us know exactly what y'all thoughts are, which is nothing new. Let's see. Get y'all comments. This thing kind of lagging, bro. Come on. Can we please go down the thing, girl? Okay, I'm just gonna read it this way, girl. Fuck this little chat thing, bitch. I'll just do it here. Let me see. Let me see. No, I'm Daddy Bubs, Lord. Happy Father's Day. Ron says, the Atlanta hip-hop concert and the shooting that happened at the pool party in Mission, I believe, where 3 children were shot by a mentally ill man with an AR-15. Wow. Yeah, Project 2025 is just, they just took the shit and put some 2023 shit on it, girl. Ronald Reagan, girl. And how has Ronald Reagan been to the black community? How has Ronald Reagan been to the queer community, girl? I told y'all, 1980s, girl, crack epidemic, black people in jail, AIDS came out of nowhere. Ex-gay movement on the large, girl. These motherfuckers starting early, girl. We already know where they going, girl. Bring the ex-gay shit out now, girl. So when this new disease come out that seem to be affecting the fags, girl, they'll know where to go. Just for them to sit up there and pretend, and then 20 years later, if they're able to walk in their truth and face fear, girl, they'll come out and say, I'm sorry. The same fucking cycle again. Ron said, I recently got into it on Facebook with a bunch of videos of a kid snatching candy from a drag queen on his pride parade float, and he smashed it on the ground and his parents cheered. The amount of homophobes says this was great, kid. I replied by calling him everything than a child of God. First of all, why would y'all have y'all children around the goddamn queer people then? So now y'all just hiding in the crowds, girl. Just, yeah, let me show you what you're supposed to do. Yeah, see, I'm a good parent. Queen Stevie says, Ron, that's awful. See how they want to punish kids for basically saying, I want to walk in my light. And Ron replies, these be the same people that condone 30-year-old men getting with 19-year-old girls and never consider that grooming. No shade, because ain't there a black pastor who recently got slammed for marrying a underage girl? The fags and the dykes is doing all the grooming, y'all say, but meanwhile, And he challenged you hoes too. I wish y'all would say something about me and my wife. But again, it's heterosexual, so I guess that how he died on top of me shit is okay, as long as you don't tell nobody but God. Deshaun said, well, I guess Bootsy is a predator. He's having his kids watch porn, so lock his ass up. And they're saying banish porn, but ain't porn on ain't sex on TV so the kids can see it. What about that? That's what I said. They're not ready to really do the real job. They want to throw around the form or the word equality, girl, but it only be labeled in the way that they motherfucking see it, girl. Equality means all, girl. It's an equal thing across the board. So if it's equal, get the heterosexual shit too. That means kids can't be inside Hooters. Shit. Children cannot be in a certain feet away from Hooters, girl. It's got to be in a place where there's no children, bitch. Need to be tucked off somewhere in the back of a damn compound, girl. You got to give ID and shit to walk in. Are y'all ready to draft another 15,000 pages, girl? Because I help y'all, girl. Y'all want to do it equality, girl? I'll help you. Queen Stevie said, anyone who hires a grown-ass woman to take their 13-year-old son's innocent is a pedo. They are literally fear-mongering, making us as queer people look like we're monsters coming to take over. Literally trying to whitewash history, erase it. You cannot erase black history or critical race. No, because the more that they do this, they don't understand, because they're not emotionally aware and intelligent and don't know how to deal with accountability for real in the realm of reconciliation instead of fucking retribution. Because they can't do that, what they don't understand is that they're going to make whatever they're resisting hit back even harder, girl. And we in the information age, bitch, where we can go back in time and look at shit. It's the fact of the accountability, because if they already said it in reference to reparations, well, you guys aren't a unified nation, so we can't give you unified stuff. And on top of that, plus the statute of limitations is already passed. It's been 100+ years or whatever. Meanwhile, your FUPA continues to grow because you eating good in the neighborhood off of black money. Look at these motherfucking corporations, girl. Music corporations, girl, that make millions upon millions of dollars off of black bodies, girl, just for these hoes to be paid less than, and it's their talent. You got people that are actually working, doing what they need to do. What about the queer people who don't want to just admit and just accept sex survival as the only way of living, but decides to work? Now they can't work and save shit up because now I have the religious freedom of discriminating against you. Okay then, bitch, well, you need to be fired too, because you a behemoth, bitch. You're a gluttonous bitch. And on top of that, I want every motherfucker in here, let me see the back of your tag, bitch. It better say 100% cotton, girl, because if it says 70% polyester and motherfucking 30% rayon, bitch, or 40% rayon, girl, I'm gonna need for your ass to motherfucking leave too, bitch. You fired. Play the game, y'all. Play the game. Adapt. These hoes, they said it was competitive. Let's compete, girl. Y'all thought homosexuality was the only thing, girl? All you big bitches, goodbye, sit down, girl. Slim fast hoe. If you a woman, you can't be saying shit to me, bitch. I got my dick in my balls. Where your husband at, bitch? And you better not be outside on your period, girl. You're supposed to be at home. That means we gotta shut the crab shack down, girl. Ain't no more seafood boils, bitch. Ain't no more Red Lobster. Ain't no Joe's Crab Shack, girl. Ain't gonna be no popcorn shrimp, bitch. Ain't no all-you-can-eat seafood surf and turf buffet, bitch. Ain't gonna be none of that, girl. Nope. Get it. These motherfuckers just created a goddamn thing to literally do. They want to be in the seat, girl. Y'all been sitting there too long. I'm used to having power. I'm used to controlling. Nah. Deshaun says, but it seems like the universe, every time the universe tried to show people the truth, they're so blind by one thing they don't like, they don't even care to go through the process. Any straight person or any straight people are going to be doing the gay dance while they have the gays suffering, celebrating. Ryan says, I noticed a lot of the talking points of the conservatives when it pertains to drag shows as strippers. Girl, these drag queens don't be stripping, bitch. They be performing. They do flips and shit. Strippers don't do flips, bitch. Unless they at the strip club, girl. If you go to these damn go-go bars where it's gay, them niggas ain't busting no move, no boom cat. They just doing that motherfucking So I'm just gonna do this all day. Y'all gonna look. The fuck? Ron also says, how do you guys feel that Jay-Z wants to help get rid of public schools because he feels that a private education will be more beneficial to us? The real question is, who can afford to put their child in private school? All these rich black celebrities tend to have the same rich white conservative ideology, but yet these are the same motherfuckers who will not take their resources and actually implement them into the fucking communities, bitch. These hoes want to leave the community and continue to have the support of the community, but y'all not investing. And I'm not talking about a motherfucking Thanksgiving Turkey Day drive, bitch, on some turkeys that's going to expire in 3 days, bitch. Some of these hoes don't have a stove or shit to cook the turkey in, bitch. What they gonna do? I'm talking about coming together and creating black businesses in black spaces, in black areas, instead of us, no shade, I love everybody else, but I'm just being honest, instead of us having to give our money to other ethnic groups that don't even live in our neighborhoods. And then when there is black businesses in our neighborhoods, we are so over, oh, you gotta be top tier and all this shit. And then had a nerve to be like, can I get the motherfucking hookup? Get down. I remember I saw a picture one time when it was a bunch of black multimillionaires, girl, and the captain said, all this money, girl, ain't not one school. Y'all could at least y'all could at least help Dr. Umar Johnson build the school, bitch. Lil Boosie continue to build motherfucking compounds and shit and big ass houses and shit with big ass double California Kings and shit, nigga. You built like an old backwood. You don't need that much fucking bed, nigga. Meanwhile, I don't know, to my knowledge, ain't no school, ain't no mental health clinic. Ain't no grocery store, ain't no fucking bank. Nothing that continues to put money into black hands. It's that black people hate black people so much, girl, that they feel like the only way to motherfucking make it is to motherfucking join the haters, girl. Because again, when I be going on these panels, girl, and these niggas be talking shit that grew up in the 60s and 70s, I be going harder at them because it's like, bitch, have y'all forgotten where the fuck y'all came from? Have y'all forgotten all the fucking strides that y'all got to see in real time? I would have loved to been able to be alive, even though it was probably traumatic, to be able to see black people come together. We not even coming together now for the most part. We complain about what the fuck going on in our own goddamn communities, but yet we don't want to talk to the people in the motherfucking community to figure shit out objectively. And then we have cognitive dissonance because then when we come through with the motherfucking facts and the motherfucking objective information that is ready right here, right now, girl, motherfuckers have the luxury and privilege to say, oh, well, that's just my opinion. Well, go sit your motherfucking ass down, bitch, and move out the way so somebody who can do something with their opinion, girl, can come through. Somebody that can validate their opinion can come through. Some of you motherfuckers holding up space. Some of y'all need to be learning and listening and growing to show thyself approved instead of arguing with motherfuckers who went through the goddamn work, who put in the goddamn work, and who are still doing the work. That should be a form of disrespect to me. And I hope and pray that if I do, God willing, get to some of the ages, like some of these niggas on these red pill platforms or whatever, I hope that I don't sound like an old fool to a young man. And this is cheer, y'all, I'm not farting. Queen Stevie said, this document is littered with harmful tactics and attacks against the rights of black, brown, and indigenous people, women, queer people, people forced to migrate, and a whole lot more, and yet they still fail on trying to persuade these oppressed groups of people to believe in what they believe. There has been no conversations of these conservative people sitting down and having conversations with queer people at all. The only time we ever did is when we read about Governor Abbott, I think his name, or whatever the case may be, ending up going to dinner with parents of a trans child girl, and she was asking him questions and he was just sitting there stuck on stupid, acting dumb like duh, I don't know, trying to play it and be politically correct in the face of this young trans child, just so to leave that place and still support the trans thing, even though you cannot validate that this trans child was hurt. This child did not grab you while the parents were away and said, please help me. Please help me. If I blink yes for one, two for no, can you just look at my eyes? Nothing of the sort. Because I thought if a child was being abused, girl, you would see signs of it. They would be looking at you. You would see a very visible uncomfort, girl. Deshaun says, ever heard of an unbalanced scale that's in the Bible and justify the wicked that's in the Bible, but they don't learn. No such thing as men are created equal. It never was. Deshaun also says, oh, by the way, once the bill is passed, Project 2025, all men will be drafted to go to the military by force. I don't know why, because they say they don't want the fags to serve, girl. They want the strongest of the strongest. They don't even see us as strong, girl. My ass 5'2". They gonna let my leprechaun ass go over there. What I'm gonna do? Cook? And why the fuck would I lay down my life for a country that don't give a fuck about me? Why would I go die on the front lines for a country that literally is trying to erase my experience and tell me I have to conform or die? And it kind of goes in tandem to what the fuck Trey non-working ass said on the BMU platform. Well, if you want to be a woman and be masculine, and if you want to be a man and be feminine, carry your ass to the military, which basically means go die. You ain't gonna make it out there. You're gonna be the first to die. But yet all men are created equal, and they all have a right to the pursuit of fucking happiness. Yeah, by what you think. And you can live your life, but not everybody gonna live your life. That's why it's called intersectionality. That's why it's called diversity. It's funny, y'all you want diversity when it comes to you. You want to be included, but you want to exclude. It don't work that way, boo. It's a give and take, bitch. Or shall I say give and receive as opposed to give and take. And meanwhile, the first three pillars are about taking shit away from people and then putting yourselves in that positions to be the heroes that save the day. When the only thing that you saved was the day on was money. It's not money that is the root of all evil. It is the love of money that is the root of all evil. And this Project 2025 is about putting money first and using the people who were never really people to begin with. They're just property, and then have the nerve to say that they rejected race. What did the last part say, girl, in that thing? Let me read that again, girl. I have it pulled up on my phone, bitch. Hold on. I don't want page one, girl. We was like page, let me see. Cause that kind of gagged me a little bit when they said that. I'm trying to find it, y'all. Give me a second. Let me see. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it. What did it say, girl? Damn, where is it at? Girl, they had said something. I was like, oh, y'all motherfuckers tried it with that one, girl. They was talking about when we resist this and resist that, girl. Where is it at? Girl, I don't know if I want to look for it because my phone acting weird. But they said something along the lines of that. I was kind of like, wow, for real? For real? Only thing y'all gonna do is create y'all own motherfucking demise, girl. People fear what they don't understand and they hate what they fear. And again, like I said, from a true spiritual perspective, bitch, that transcends some of y'all low vibrational ass interpretations, girl. What you resist will persist, girl. Because you're putting your energy into it. Like I said before, love is a wonderful, beautiful thing that can literally transform anything, that can make miracles of things. But then hate has just as much power as love, because it's on the opposite extreme end. The gag is that there's an element of love that is in hate too, that can bring you back to love, which is why some of the people who have allowed hate to be a part of their narrative for the longest time was able to have a crossroads moment, girl, to where they could choose love, which means to include themselves, which also means to be accountable for the shit that you done, nigga, and build reconciliation. You can't sit out here and harm hoes and then be like, oh, I can get away with it. No, bitch. You should have thought about that before. That's why Christ said, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Because even though you feel like you might escape, you haven't escaped spiritually, bitch. Karma always got her eye on you, bitch. And key word is her. Ain't it funny how they call karma, bitch? Because karma's emotionally intelligent and aware when your ass is not. So it can follow you through all these timelines, girl. Like my father used to say all the time, girl, you might be able to get away from it, girl, but your children's children is going to have to deal with it. Y'all afraid of critical race theory because it highlights what white people have done. No, baby, y'all been hypercritical about black niggas ain't got no daddy, girl. They hoes and shit. They welfare queens, girl. They eat fried chicken and watermelon. They animals and shit. We was in zoos and shit, girl. Motherfuckers looking at us. Motherfuckers was feeding black babies to alligators, bitch. Motherfuckers was using goddamn black infant babies and toddlers and shit as goddamn feet warmers and goddamn seats. They would sit on them. All this shit. Girl, hell yeah, girl, y'all did all that. Now it's mirror time. Now it's time to look at what the fuck y'all did, girl, and y'all guilty and y'all dealing with shame, but y'all so used to not being shameful. Why do I feel guilt? Why do I feel shame? Y'all remember that video? I forgot that white lady name, girl, who be down there destroying racism, girl, be destroying it. Jane something, girl, and it was in the class with this white girl, and this white girl had a nervous breakdown, girl. Just look at all the white people tripping out. And you can't get mad about me speaking this way because your forefathers made it this way. This type of thinking made it this way. If y'all want to know about the shit that happened in the 60s and 70s from a black perspective, girl, again, I recommend that y'all check out my documentary that I did, because I transposed and edited for YouTube. It's visually, you really can't see much because YouTube is really trying my time, but audibly you can hear. I did a remix of 13, the documentary that was on Netflix, where they talked about what happened during the 60s and the 70s and the Reagan era and how that put black men in prison for a very long time because a nigga had baking soda. I got baking soda in this bitch. It's fucking crazy, bro. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Let me see. Queen Stevie said in 1970, Angela Davis was arrested for a crime she did not commit. James Baldwin warned her and us in an open letter, if we know, then we must fight for your life as though it were your own, which it is, and render impassable with our bodies the corridor to the gas chamber. For if they take you in the morning, they will be coming for us at night. This literally reminds me of the Buffy Vampire Slayer. Remember the mayor? Yes, and she was a very famous black liberalist. She cared about and the Black Panthers were being the change that they sought. They were actually taking care of black neighborhoods. They were making sure children had, literally, bitch, lunches to eat and breakfast to eat, because again, like you said in the video in the beginning, girl, a lot of black parents, a lot of oppressed groups of people, kids gonna be hungry, girl. They said let's use our resources in the community to help these kids, walk these kids to school. But see, the place where society or the system is like no, is that they were monitoring police when they were beating on black people. They weren't trying to whoop the police officer's ass and help free the dude and they just murdered the guy. No, they weren't doing that. They was there to ensure that the brother can at least go to the precinct alive and get charged and be judged by a jury of his peers like it says it should be, because everybody is innocent until proven guilty, correct? To where her life was literally on the line. She had to move, I think, to Cuba or somewhere in South America she lived. And again, when we look at fucking history, they have murdered people who were trying to fight for liberation for a group of people, because it would mean the end game for the players that have benefited from this the most. And I want you motherfuckers to understand, girl, that if you create hell, hell will be created for you. And there will be nowhere you can hide. You can make your bed in heaven. You can make your bed in hell. Bitch, you can be Mr. motherfucking, what's his name? Doctor Strange, and bend and break all the universes, bitch. You could be like Michelle Yeoh, whatever her name is, girl, everywhere, all at once type shit, girl. Accountability is going to find you. And don't take it personal, baby. That's life. Because your Lord and Savior, when he was on the cross, he could have done what the fuck you motherfuckers would have done, and no shade, a part of me would probably do too, girl, is rain down motherfucking fire on you bitches for what you have done. But instead, he died not just for Christians, but he died for the fucking world and said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. But we're living in an information age where, bitch, you can learn, ho. And y'all are not learning. Well, I'm going to learn. And if it costs me my life, goddamn it, it costs me my life. At least it'll be my life to control. But I also want you to understand that there is a shifting of tides, because since y'all want to go back in time, I'm cool. I think black people need to go back in time too, bitch. Since there's going to be a phoenix rising from the ashes, since shit is destroying and being restored, okay, well, I think that black people at large should destroy their relationship with organized religion. And I think they need to reinvigorate, okay? Re-energize, girl. Go back to our old ways, girl. I'm talking about Ogun and Oshun and Olokun and all of them. The ancestors and deities and orishas that have been crying out for their black brothers and sisters and family to honor them. Meanwhile, we've been giving it to their God. To where now we just pretend like we have it all together and then gag when the universe pulls the veil back and we see what the fuck everybody else been doing. Which means that, again, especially in the black church, a lot of these hoes are pretending. I know, I used to play that game. I knew what to say. I knew how to say it. I knew how to jerk when to jerk. I knew how to set the church on fire, girl. I knew how to play the game. But my queerness would not allow me to play the game fully, because if I were to be free, y'all would demonize that. Yeah. Trump already talking about what he's going to do. Is going to be doing, send it to the chat. Women and queer already got one major thing snatched, Roe versus Wade. Between 2008 and 2019, the number of human trafficking victims identified worldwide has increased from 30,000 to 120,000. 49.6 million people are in modern slavery worldwide, including 12 million children. I've seen that Deshaun on way past 26. They're doing 18 to 26. That's for men and women. I'm 30, so I think I'll pass the age limits, but that's not right at all. And who's to know? They might motherfucking extend the shit. Dr. Umar is another one. It's great how he got back to the community by building a school. However, he has said verbatim that would never hire anyone in the queer community to work there. That's my chair again. It's not me farting. Again, I don't know what to tell y'all. If anything, I would probably just prepare myself for the worst. It is what it is, because it seems like it's going down that route. And if let history tell it, it wants to go down that route. But we don't have to play that part either, because they want us to play in the way that they're used to us playing, is playing in fear. And some of us are going to have to find that courage that those had before us, which means that I can possibly lose my life for this. But the gag is, you've already lost your life. You gave your power away to somebody else. And there are some people who just get acclimated to that. Even though they deal with bullshit, they find a way to make a deal. And then on top of that, y'all wonder why the motherfucking alcoholism is on the rise, and drug abuse is on the rise, and overdoses on the rise. Cause people are fucking tired, bro. They doing the best they fucking can, and it's not enough. Y'all keep telling people to pull their fucking bootstraps up, bitch. We ain't got no motherfucking leather, girl. What you want us to do? Cut our fucking leg and pull the flesh straps up? Y'all playing in people's faces. And then tell them they better not get violent. When y'all have said that with this Project 2025, y'all gonna be on the offense. Which means that y'all gonna be coming at us. Meanwhile, a new world order is being established everywhere, to where there will be a one world government everywhere, where there will be one totalitarian religion everywhere, and where we will be like the fucking Hunger Games in tribute to appease these motherfuckers, bitch. Because of course, they will accept you and acknowledge you as long as you bring entertainment. Dance, nigga. Twirl, fag. And you better do it right, or it's your head. And every time we sit up here and we walk away through the lens of fucking fear, our ancestors, those who came before us, who put their motherfucking blood and sweat and tears for the next goddamn generation, is turning over in their graves right fucking now. I be giving y'all the cheat code to help y'all look at this in a more objective way. But y'all don't even want it. Y'all are afraid to accept death, even though it accepts you. Which is why they will always have power over you. That's why they don't want us to be educated. They don't want us to know the system. And even when we get in the system and change the system and reform it from the inside out, like we've been saying in these black delegations for the people who believe that you can change the system from the inside out, girl, now it's demonized. The people is acting real scared right now and real dumb right now. We'll sit up here and give views to platforms. And I see you in the building. See how God worked. I deleted my phone. He said, let's go Trump 2024. Have you read Project 2025, Black Men Unfiltered? Glad to have you here. I'm glad you out the bushes. Have you read it? I've read some of it to my audience tonight. And I want you to know nigga shit in there too. So as much as y'all sit up here, I'm very queer phobic and afraid of queerness and want to believe any other negative stereotype about queerness as opposed to the actual experiences of queer people that are in your families, that work at your jobs, that is in everyday life. I want you to understand that same smoke y'all give to us, they're gonna give to your ass too, cause you's a nigga. But like I said, there are some people where if you can't beat them, you can't join them. And meanwhile, these goddamn overseeing ass niggas want to be in power. Some of these coon ass niggas want to be in power. And yeah, I said coon ass niggas, because if you are a black person voting for Trump and what Project 2025 is bringing forth, you are in essence voting against your motherfucking self. But I guess I'd rather be one of those black people that I'll shook and jive for, I'll appease to. And some of you niggas need to dance. That fupa will shrink. And then have the nerve to tell me that I am destroying the black community. Bitch, get the fuck out my face. Nigga what? Nigga who? Trigger what? Trigger who? Meanwhile, there are platforms that pick on weak ass black men, girl, because these weak ass niggas found somebody weaker than them and they picked on them, girl. But then when they pick on motherfuckers, girl, motherfuckers come in, girl, to challenge y'all niggas, not one, not twice, girl. Y'all don't do shit. And y'all failed. The fuck? But anyway, y'all, I just wanted to come through and read this really quickly. Okay. Shout out to the people who do their motherfucking research, not just have opinions pulled out their fucking ass that they barely wipe, because you know that's gay shit. Shout out to y'all. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and do that real motherfucking quick. Shout out to Queen Style by Stevie, who is open-minded. Shout out to Ron, who is open-minded. Shout out to Deshaun, who is open motherfucking minded. Shout out to Queen Spicy, who is open fucking minded. Shout out to Coco with the TV, who is open-minded. Chief Soul Survivor, who is open motherfucking minded. Harold, who is open motherfucking minded. Snatched by Diego, who is open motherfucking minded. And also have their weight under control too. Praise him. But anyway, if you like the commentary here, please make sure you hit the like button, okay? Because it helps this channel to grow in the algorithms, girl. Y'all help get out the information and the news about what's to come, girl. All right? If you like the vibe here on BubzDaGawd, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all of my content in my lives. Okay? I ask that you please share this content in spaces where they be talking shit and be asking questions and want to motherfucking know. Give them the motherfucking answers and see what they do with it, and then that will be telling enough. And if you feel compelled, you can definitely hit a nigga up in the Cash App, $BubzDaGawd. My birthday is on Saturday, so you know we taking everything. Okay? So shout out to y'all. I hope that y'all enjoy the rest of your day if you can after being triggered by this live. And again, to the queer community, y'all need to stop motherfucking playing games, bitch. I'ma need for y'all to go ahead and find a way to defend yourself. Stop playing. Let these niggas know. If these niggas talking shit, let them talk. Those are words. It's not what you're called, it's what you respond to. So you want to talk shit, let them talk shit. But when them hoes start following you, when them hoes start continuing to escalate the situation, bitch, you do what you need to do to de-escalate it. Even if that means being judged by a jury of 12. Because you have a right to exist. I don't give a fuck what a person's interpretation of a goddamn book that they struggling to interpret in their own life is. I don't give a fuck. You have a right to be here. If God didn't want you here, if you were such an abomination, if you were such a horrible thing, and this thing knows the beginning and the end, why the fuck would it create you and let alone let you have your own individual, unique fingerprint that no other motherfucker, FUPA or not, has on planet Earth? You have a right to exist. If people don't understand your experience, they also have the choice to keep it the fuck moving. They also have the choice to turn their motherfucking head. They also have the choice to walk the fucking other way. Or they have the choice to simply do what they've been doing to their own problems, girl. Ignore it. But y'all not gonna keep playing in queer people's face. You're not gonna be playing in black people's face. You're not gonna be playing in women's face. At this point, it is an act of war. And we have the right to defend ourselves because, again, we're not on the offense. We're normally on the defense because y'all the motherfuckers that are afraid. Y'all the motherfuckers that are stupid and dumb and ignorant. And yes, I said all that because at this point, bitch, y'all making a choice. So y'all all doing it. Screen grab this, screen clip this, and sit on your panel and talk all this shit because that's the closest you niggas will ever talk to BubzDaGawd on these YouTube streets. Cause y'all not ready for my shit. Cause the last 2 times I was over there, y'all niggas almost had a hernia. Y'all niggas almost had coronary heart failure. Y'all niggas almost had strokes and shit because you wanted to jump out at the screen and choke me because I sound like some of y'all mamas who was getting y'all asses together when y'all was in the wrong. And now y'all can't cuss her ass out, so you gonna take it out on the fag. Well, again, all fags are not monolithic. And some of you niggas will find out if y'all keep playing. Because for some of us, this is unfortunately our real fucking lives. And again, a lot of us survived the onslaught as a child, and there were so many who did not. And y'all are literally putting the young children who are queer through the same fucking thing. And I want you motherfuckers to understand that Jesus, God, is watching you evil motherfuckers too. And I want you to know that karma is watching your ass too. And it's about to slap some of you motherfuckers across the head. It probably brings some of y'all hairlines the fuck back. Y'all not gonna do this shit on Pride Month, girl, when it's time to help queer people and black queer people to learn to love themselves after being part of a society that has taught them to hate they damn selves. The fuck? Let me get out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. And I'll see y'all next time. And since niggas want to talk shit and hide in the bushes, why don't you go ahead and hide in the bushes while I play this motherfucking shit real quick. Let me help
when
your
your Jesus said,
quick.
I am the way,
yep,
he did not mean
hold on, let me move out the way so you can see the person. Let's hear this individual talk. Where's it at? I'm out, y'all.
When your Jesus said, I am the way, he did not mean follow him in a religious context. He meant be the way I am, because you are that way. So the idea also is for all of you to understand that this is what the so-called second coming actually is. is the awakening within each and every one of you of your own Christ consciousness, your own Buddha nature, your own Krishna spirit, your own holy Wavoka. All of that is all who you are, and you've created reflections down through the ages to guide you, to remind you. But because of the disconnection in your consciousness, it didn't always take. But a few people here and there would get it. Until such time as now you have arrived at a place where you finally are beginning to understand what was said by all those reflections over the course of your so-called history. All right?